welcome to more creepy videos and let's dive in.
This is Sanju Bhagat, and in 1999, his abdomen was so swollen everyone thought he was pregnant or had some sort of tumor in there. He eventually had difficulty breathing, so they rushed him to the hospital. And you know what happened? He had been carrying his parasitic twin for 36 years. Even the doctors were surprised. They all thought it was a tumor as well. Now, this is another case of fetus in fetu. I've covered it in another video. Basically, you have twins, and sometimes one twin will absorb the other, but when the absorption is incomplete, this happens. The reason they call this a parasitic twin, even though it's partially absorbed, it still takes blood and nutrients from the host. The fetus continued to develop and even developed teeth, hair, and even genitals. So if you really think about it, Sanju was kind of pregnant, but with his own self, since it is his twin. It's like an inception moment right now. Honestly, I'm sure if you looked at this guy, you would think he just had a beer belly or something, like a crazy beer belly. But no, those are two people in there. And yes, they did get it out of him. I probably can't show it because of guidelines, but just imagine Kirby, but more wrinkly. That's basically how it looked. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, these videos are for informational purposes only.
This deeply disturbing footage from long ago was just released. Even though it was reportedly taken on December 6th, 1992, the footage is brand new to us. A man was out skiing through a remote forested area. He brought his video camera along with him. Here is his shocking footage.
Early December is big, and I see some big trees. Holy, you can see his eyes. Fuck. What the hell you got?
He zooms in, and a good distance away behind the trees is a massive, unidentified creature. Its head peeks up from atop the pine tree, revealing a pair of piercing, glowing eyes. The man is surprised and very frightened by the creature, and can't believe he's capturing it on camera. This is when it lets out a guttural roar, shaking the skier to the core. The man knew he was in potential danger, so he quickly packed up his stuff and left, leaving the beast be. Because the beastly being is towering over the pine trees, we can tell it's freakishly huge, a type of huge we've never seen before. Commenters were quick to call this a Yeti or Bigfoot sighting. But what do you guys think it is?
I'm not too sure if you guys have seen it before, but this footage looks eerily similar to the footage that was found about the hikers from the Dyatlov Pass incident.
The chronovisor was invented by Father Pellegrino Ernetti in the 1950s, an Italian priest who claimed that the device allowed him to see and hear events from the past. Ernetti collaborated with a team of scientists and technicians to build the chronovisor, which allegedly used a complex system of antennas and cathode ray tubes to capture and display historical events. There are claims that it was used to witness the crucifixion of Jesus Christ and the last words of Napoleon Bonaparte. Ernetti's own conflicting accounts of the device's capabilities have cast doubt on its existence. Despite the mystery and skepticism surrounding the chronovisor, its story remains an intriguing part of scientific and technological history. Do you believe the Vatican might be hiding this secret in the shadows?
So technically this is the Vatican's time travel device, and apparently Ernetti had 12 scientists, including a Nobel Prize winning physicist and also a former Nazi scientist by the name of Wernher von Braun. So is it a myth or a legend? I'll let you guys decide on that.
What type of zombified ass breakfast did Buddy decide to create? And not only that, to make matters worse, bro's cooking it inside of lemonade with seasoning. Out of all the parts of the cow, you decide to eat the brain. What, you thought it was gonna make you extra smart or something? Cause it didn't. Like, I really don't care about none of the season, the flour, the dough, none of that. Yeah, we back to this boiled brain that's been cooked at 350 degrees. And not you eating it on pita bread. And who gave you the recipe to cook brains? We just need to have a conversation. Shit. Brain chops. This what we doing, gang? Brain chops. Drizzled in oil, paprika, and salt. This is outrageously insidious. Congratulations, you guys. We have a new supervillain on the loose. Y'all let me know in the comments though, would y'all be eating brain chops?
I reckon this has the same texture and consistency as an omelette. I mean, who in the right mind would eat something like that?
You saying that these implants that people are going to get are going to energize them into modern day Nephilim?
What I think is going to happen, this is conjecture.
Yeah.
The implant interfaces with the human body through the nervous system. We used to think it interfaced to the blood circulatory system. It doesn't. It works through the nervous system. We also think that it will change the host DNA.
So that's what Michael Lake says.
I know.
As a matter of fact,
we've talked about
3 or 4 of my interviews are saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Wow.
It changes the host DNA, and you become Nephilim. You become the seed of the serpent, which is why there's no redemption.
Wow. Is this happening now, in your opinion?
Let's put it this way. We took out was 40 years old. The new ones, you can't cut open. We don't really know what they can do and how they work. It's like Stanton Friedman's analogy. Columbus going into a nuclear submarine, he'd have no idea what he was looking at.
Could this be the reason why Elon and the government could push this hard on us in the future? I mean, would you take the implant? You know, personally, I think we won't turn into the Nephilim, but more like Johnny Five.
Bad humans.
Can somebody please tell me why this house on Rightmove has a prison cell in the living room? Check this out. I have so many questions. For what reason would you need this in your living room? This flat is going for £675 a month, and it's a 1-bedroom flat based in Dudley. Why have the estate agents taken photos inside the prison cell? This is the kitchen, and I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't look too bad, but it is pretty plain. It's literally all just grey and white. Something about this property just feels very sinister. Description on Rightmove is wild. It says holding cell feature within the studio apartment. A fantastic and unusual opportunity to make this ground floor and spacious studio apartment yours, just having had a full refurb. The property features a holding cell in the studio, which is large enough for a living, dining and bedroom area. Key features: large studio with feature holding cell. What? This is the bathroom. Looks pretty standard, reasonably decorated, but not great. I'm sorry, I just can't stop looking at this weird prison cell. Why don't they just rip it out? It's just giving haunted, cursed vibes. I really do not want to know the history of this prison cell. How can you live in this space? Imagine inviting your mates round for dinner and there's just a prison cell in the corner of the room. No thank you.
I understand that for some this may be ideal if you have pets. Personally, it wouldn't be my cup of tea, but when you look at the way things are in the UK at the minute, with the amount of, attempted nappings, this would make a lot more sense. But let me know what your thoughts are.
What do you call your computer?
Laptop.
You know where the name came from? Steve Jobs used to put the original computer on his lap. And they called the laptop. You know what kind of cancer he got? Retroperitoneal cancer. What did you always see in his Levi's in the back? Pocket wore out, because that's where you put what? iPhone. He writes a book. He has a ghostwriter, Walter Isaacson. You know what it said in the book? You need to go read it. It said, I don't want my kids to use my technology. Do you know why?
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Steve Jobs knew that his technology was a problem. Do you know how I can tell you guys that it's a problem? iPad 2 came out. Do you know that iPad 2 had an infrared detector in it? So that when the detector touched the kid, it would turn off the RF and microwaves.
Wow.
Do you want to know why it's important for you to know? Apple never marketed it. Do you know why?
No.
If they would have marketed it, they would have told you. You would have asked the question.
Yeah, for sure.
Is this good or bad for you?
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that Apple had that kind of technology back then. I mean, if that's what they had back then, who knows what kind of technology they have now. And as for Steve Jobs, the fact he didn't even trust his own products to be around his children should definitely be warning lights for us.
The timeline goes as follows. So in 1955, Operation Deep Freeze starts. And when Admiral Richard Byrd gets back, he comes on live television and tells us he found more land the size of North America. They quickly start NASA, and President Eisenhower calls over the Nazi traitors in Operation Paperclip to start the upper space mind control program. Don't look out there. Look up here. Look, everybody. We're going to the moon. Then, in 1959, 12 nations started the Antarctic Treaty, followed by 42 more nations where they have decided you or I cannot travel or explore any part of Antarctica, South or Pacific Parallel, without military clearance, without the aid of a guided tour. Do you really think that this is just a coincidence?
More. Imagine they find more land. Imagine there is more land out there. More to explore, more to reside, more resources. You think they tell you and I about it?
Countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
That's a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Admiral, do you hope to see that?
I do.
Now, I know there's a lot of maps that do talk about cities underneath the ice caps and even on the other side of these ice caps. And there's even maps out there, which I am going to show one. So could these maps show beyond the ice wall? And also, are there passages where you could get beyond the ice barrier as well? So let me know what you think about Antarctica. And if there was an exploration that you could get on, would you go to Antarctica?
When multiple governments are setting up research facilities all around Antarctica and they're restricting access from the public, then they're either conducting some shady studies, experiments, or they're holding something so secret that they don't want you to know about. But either way, whatever it is, it's definitely something sketchy.
Something's about to happen and TikTok does not want us to know. I've already seen so many of my favorite followers being banned for no reason with no warning, and I didn't think it could happen to me. Lo and behold, just yesterday, I opened the app, I was logged out, went to log in, and it says, you've been permanently banned. For what, you might ask? Well, there is no explanation, because I did not violate any terms of service. I uploaded videos talking about weird things that are going on in the world right now. And in the past 6 weeks, I gained almost 11,000 followers and 1.5 million views. And this isn't just me. This is happening to everyone that is talking about things TikTok doesn't like. And it's not against terms of service. I'm done being angry and I'm getting back on here and I'm going to continue talking. So if you want to hear about what's going on right now, please give me a follow.
Any of you who are using TikTok, have you noticed any changes over the last few weeks yourselves? I mean, personally, I think what's happening here is the US government is either telling them to shake it up and make changes, or they're just going to ban them permanently from the US.
The following footage is from a woman named Candace Hartner. She and her husband have been experiencing an extreme poltergeist haunting for several years. Basically, what had happened is in a previous Halloween, she and her husband had attended a Halloween party in an abandoned prison. She thinks something followed her home, and that something does not like women, because immediately it began tormenting her, and then it escalated into physical contact. The next 3 videos are from her home security camera. They have not been edited, and this is the actual footage from her security camera. Take a look at this and tell me what you think.
Help, 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 help me! Help me! Help me! Help me! Help me! Get it off of me! Get it off of me! Get it off of me! Help! Ah! There's somebody crawling on my leg! Billy! Help me! Help me! Something grab my leg! Billy! Ah!
I hear you. I'm with you.
God!
I'm right here, honey.
I personally think that if you have paranormal activity in your house, the worst thing you could do is start recording, because you're just going to make that energy stronger and stronger, and then you're just going to make it worse for yourself.
Do you still think they're telling you the truth about how much inflation really happened?
I feel like I'm gonna be sick. I just, looked through my Walmart history, and I found this, Walmart order from 2 years ago for the whole month worth of groceries. 45 items cost $126. A whole month of groceries just for me, basically. But I did notice this reorder all button, and I wanted to see how much it would cost now. Now, this order of 45 items for 1 month would have cost $414. That is 4 times more. How the fuck? How? What?
The cost of living these days is a joke, and the food quality is getting worse and worse, and if it's not the quality of the food, it's the atrocious customer service you experience. But who I feel for is Gen Z and Gen Alpha, because they just don't have a chance.
Hot police have left everyone scratching their heads. We've all heard of the Mandela effect, where people remember historical events differently, but these videos crank up the weirdness. The process seems almost too simple. Grab an old phone, spot oddities in the world, record, and find things that just don't add up. Named after the Mandela incident, this phenomenon messes with our memories. In one clip, a Wikipedia page claims Nelson Mandela passed in 1987, but we know it happened in 2013. A childhood classic, the Berenstain Bears, becomes the Berenstein Bears in this Dimensions video. JK ensures it's no trick by wiggling his fingers behind the camera. Next, Lando Lakesbutter features the Native American woman, missing in our reality. Lastly, the iconic Monopoly Man wears a monocle on the phone screen, a detail absent in our world. TikTok is buzzing with believers and skeptics, as Thought Police fans grab old phones to test this mind-boggling experience, while doubters question the authenticity of these parallel captures.
There are so many Mandela effects, but the one that stuck out for me was the song by Queen, We Are the Champions. So the song We Are the Champions, did Freddie Mercury at the end sing We Are the Champions of the World?
Breaking news, there is human trafficking that is taking place on the road in Atlanta, Georgia today, and a driver called the police to say that he saw what was a weird hand, as you see here, sticking out. Now, when the police showed up, you see that there is sadly several children who are inside, and you hear the police saying, "Hey, who was the one who called the police?" Now, obviously, the police did arrest the driver, and they are investigating everything else that is taking place. But this is crazy. This guy also followed behind this truck for 45 minutes and was giving very good information to the police, and he was also posting it on his social media. But yes, that was the hand there in the bottom right, and here are all the children who were saved from this. What do you think about all of this taking place? Take care. God bless.
The times that we live in today is crazy, and this man's a literal hero. He literally saved all those wee ones' lives. I mean, who knows what would have happened if he wasn't behind that truck?
And this is going to freak everyone out. Every mirror on the face of the earth is haunted. Yes. Every one, every single one. The biggest, strongest spirit near a mirror will grab hold of it and keep all other spirits at bay. It will fight for this glance into our world. A portal's the same way. The biggest meanness is going to stand at the guard because it wants the energy of the portal. It wants the energy of the area that the portal came from. If you remove that one, the next biggest thing, or a bigger thing with no fight, might be on its way. And if it's closed, it's closed. That's great. However, how closed, how secure, how tight, how, and it comes back to that wonderful phrase, I don't know. We just don't know. And we don't understand it. Sure.
And for all the viewers who are now freaking out about their mirrors in their house, maybe we'll make a TikTok about how to lock your mirrors. There are ways to protect yourselves. Don't go smashing all your mirrors. So
if your TV was on standby and your phone screen was off, then wouldn't the reflections technically be mirrors? And if they are mirrors, then when you switch them back on, would they not technically act like portals?
Am I a joke to you?
So remember them underground tunnels?
Well, I got a banger for you guys this time. So now we are finding out that there are underground tunnels in celebrity homes that live in LA. Yes, that's right, underground tunnels. Puff Daddy purchases massive $40 million Holmby Hills estate near Playboy Mansion in exclusive LA neighborhood. Jack Nicholson, celebs had tunnels to Playboy Mansion under golf course.
Which show that the construction project was built in the 70s and 80s were discovered in the Playboy archives by staff writers looking for a juicy story.
Now dig this. A photo from the late 70s allegedly showing an excavation in progress beneath the mansion. And this one shows the newly discovered tunnel plans. Check out the bunny logo on the plywood wall.
The second time I met Oprah was at the Playboy Mansion. There's tunnels under the Playboy Mansion that lead to celebrities' homes.
That means it's literally been tunnels down there since the 70s, just like the video said. Which means also this is nothing new under the sun. And I got something else I want to show you guys. This is a blueprint to one of the underground tunnels. See how it says northbound to Mr. J. Nicholson's residence? Well, guess what? P. Diddy owns Mr. J. Nicholson's residence. And I'm going to leave y'all with that.
Why would Jack Nicholson have underground tunnels underneath his house? It just wouldn't make any sense. But it would make sense why he said what he said in the movie Shining, because he was probably just working flat out in them tunnels.
It is the largest underground chamber, is estimated to be roughly 3 million years old. It runs through the earth for nearly 6 miles. But according to area residents, what's most notable about Sondum Cave are the strange creatures that are believed to dwell within it.
Local residents describe seeing reptilian-type humanoid beings emerging from the Sondum Cave, and they believe that they actually live deep inside this cave. What's fascinating about this is that these reptilian-type humanoid beings are similar to the seraphim or the winged serpents in Kabbalistic tradition. The seraphim are said to have gone and lived in the inner earth, according to Kabbalistic teaching.
There are many, many stories of a tunnel system that has something to do with serpent deities, which they call the around Cuzco, and they sealed them up.
According to Zoharic literature, there are beings inside the earth having large black eyes and a nose that leaves only 2 dark holes on the face. Now that corresponds to things that we've heard about these, for lack of a better word, ETs. There is a lot of evidence that these beings that we think are coming from another planet are not coming from another planet. They're coming from inside our own Earth.
Now it makes sense why Jack Nicholson was building those tunnels.
Bang bang bam 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 bam.
If you enjoy the topics from this compilation, I've got even more wild topics here for you to enjoy. But that's it for today, guys. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe button. And until the next video, look after yourselves, stay safe and stay healthy, and I'll see you then.